Welcome to Voice of Strongman TV. I'm here at the Gloucester Strongman Training Facility here in Gloucester, funny enough. And here with me, a man that you should know, but I'll introduce you to him anyway, Laurence Shahlaei.
How you doing, Martin?
Thanks for having me, mate.
No problem at all, looking forward to it.
Oh, lovely. Listen, I just watched you train and it's a lovely atmosphere you have in here. I've got to say, there's a few of the other boys here as well, and I had a right good time as it goes. So you'll see some of that footage in a little while anyway. But Laurence, let's talk about you. You're on my story so far, and there's quite a lot to tell.
Not so much, but we'll see.
Let's go through.
Start at the start, yeah.
Let's start at the start. Okay.
Okay.
2005.
Yeah, 2005. Well, 2004. End of 2004. I was watching World's Strongest Man on telly, and actually watched Britain's Strongest Man that year. I can't even remember what month it was. Maybe August time.
Yeah.
And I was watching guys like Ollie Thompson and Mark Felix. I was like, this is cool. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, okay.
I hadn't actually stepped foot in a gym at that time, but I thought, that looks
well, done no strength training at all?
No strength training, no gym training, nothing.
Okay.
I used to...
How old was you at this point?
I was... Good question. What am I now? 28?
29 on Christmas Day?
God, what was
I? Made sure he got that in, so
I must be getting old if I can't remember my age.
Yeah.
I must have been about 23, I think.
Okay. So about 23-ish?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe younger, maybe 22.
Okay.
22, I think. Yeah, just kind of watching guys on telly like that, then watching World's Strongest Man at Christmas, you know, watching these awesome guys kind of lift stuff. I watched World's Strongest Man throughout the years, but for some reason that year kind of just grabbed me and I was like, okay, I want to do this. You know, I'm pretty strong. You know, I played rugby for the Southwest and I was British champion at Kung Fu, so I'd always trained.
So you come from you'd done a bit of form in other sports then?
Yeah, I also coached table tennis, which some people might know about.
Oh right,
it's kind of a weird transition to go from table tennis to strongman.
Yeah.
But that's the way it worked.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, after Christmas 2004, in the January of 2005, my dad paid for me to get a gym membership. Just at kind of a Bannatyne's fitness gym.
Yeah, okay.
So
sort of commercial gym?
Yeah, just a commercial gym. Went down there, had a just play with some of the gym stuff, and there was a guy down there putting me on a little kind of basic training program, and obviously he saw I was kind of quite strong naturally. He said, you should be pretty good at strongman if you train for it. So I looked on the internet to try and find a competition, and I managed to find a competition in Bexley Heath actually. It's like only a novice competition, and it was in the summer. Probably July time. Yeah. Hadn't done any strongman training at all, just a little bit of stuff in the gym. And my PB on the deadlift at the time, I'd done 230 in the gym. And we had to do 220 for reps in the competition. So I was a little bit nervous.
A little bit nervous about that, yeah.
But I ended up doing 14 reps.
Okay, so you dug deep and found it then?
Yeah.
You found the strength?
I obviously wasn't working very hard in the gym. So
no.
But I kind of just loved the experience. And I think I ended up 8th. I was doing all right on everything. And as probably a lot of you might know, I'm pretty weak on the stones, or I certainly used to be very weak on the stones, and the last event was to load a stone, and I ended up getting down on my knees and trying to roll it up my body, and it really didn't work. But I loved the experience, loved competing, so I kind of just went from there, and the next year I entered a kind of open competition, came second. Yeah. I was second to Jay Hughes actually. Jay beat me in that one.
Did he really?
He was like, I mean, he's still a great athlete now. But he was one of the guys. I was like, wow, this is awesome, competing against these kind of guys. And I just kind of progressed quite quickly. I think 2005 just did the one competition. 2006 I entered quite a few. Yeah. Got my backside kicked. You know, I was competing.
As you would though, you're finding your feet, didn't you?
Yeah, but I loved it. I never wanted to go and compete and win the easy competitions. I wanted to go to the big competitions and learn from the top guys and try and get better all the time.
Was you very conscious of pick and choosing your competitions, or did you just...
To be honest, I kind of, anything I could get my hands on at that time, it was like,
I understand.
It was just, I wanted to learn all the time, so I loved competing. I did a competition, Mick Gosling ran a big competition, and I think Mark Felix was the winner. And there was about, I think I came 10th or something like that. But it was just great competing against these guys I've watched on TV.
Didn't mind coming 10th?
No, not at all.
No problem to you?
I've never ever worried about getting beat. My goal is always to get better.
Yeah.
I don't worry about where I place, you know, I try and always improve for the next time and learn from those mistakes and learn from the better guys.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing back in 2006. It was just about learning, trying to pick up tips, pick up training tips. I used to travel around. I trained with Aid Rollinson. I trained with Mick Gosling and Richard Gosling, who were top guys, early 2000s.
You had a good team around you?
Well, I didn't really have anyone around me, but I would just go and travel and just try and pick their brains and stuff.
Oh, okay. So you went out your way to come and sort of, you know, find the talent and gain the experience in that.
That's right. And then in 2007, things started to pick up. I started to improve. I entered Midland's Strongest Man and I won it. And that qualified me for Britain's Strongest Man. It's always nice to win competitions. That qualified me for my first Britain's Strongest Man, and that was great. You know, I mean, I think I said to you earlier, I looked like some guy just out of the pub. No pressing power whatsoever. I was pretty strong in the legs and back and grip. Always kind of, they've been my natural strengths. But I had a lot of weaknesses as well. And I was in a group with Terry Hollands, and I was like, wow, it's Terry Hollands. And naturally, he kicked my butt. But I managed to make the final, which was a good achievement for me. But unfortunately, one of the events I tore my bicep on the tyre flip, and that put an end to that competition.
Was that the first major injury and setback you'd had?
Yes, that was the first kind of serious injury that I got.
And it went right at the wrong time.
It went at the wrong time, but I mean, you know, when there's never a right time for something like that.
That's strong, man. We speak about it all the time. It's part and parcel.
You know, you're not a proper strongman until you've got an injury.
No, of course not. No, that's for sure.
I think every kind of top British strongman's torn their bicep.
Of course they have, yeah. Terry's had his fair share.
Terry, Felix, myself, Darren.
Exactly.
They've all torn their biceps. So
exactly that.
It's just unfortunately one of the sad things about strongman is always with injuries. You try and do everything you can to avoid them. I actually learned from that because I probably didn't warm up well enough before that event. Probably rushed into it, and you know, there's always a chance of injuries, but you've got to do everything you can to prevent them.
Of course.
And hopefully I learned from that and try and make sure I warm up properly and prepare myself.
So yes, always in your mind now. So that's another thing you learn, you know, early on. So 2008 then?
Yeah, so that finished 2007. So everything then was about kind of recovery and training for 2008. And 2008, I won Midland's Strongest Man again. Got to Britain's Strongest Man. Felt really confident that year. Had a pretty tough group, but managed to make the final. I was quite nervous in the heat, I think, because I was probably expected to make the final that year. Which obviously, when you get better, there's more pressure.
Weight of expectancy comes on you,
And then in the final, I thought I did well. I ended up coming fourth, qualified for my first World's Strongest Man. And first Worlds for me was in West Virginia.
Okay.
And it was good fun, you know, going to compete against all the top guys in the world.
How did you feel when you turned up and you look around and
I felt like you felt like this is the place to be, you know. Any strongman, whatever level, you know, that's the competition you want to kind of reach.
Of course it is.
You know, there's other competitions which mean a lot, but I think, you know, World's Strongest Man is a competition you watch as a kid growing up. So for me, that's always been the competition that I want to kind of do my best in and try and win. Hopefully one day I will. But you know, I was there and I was in Mariusz Pudzianowski's group. Actually, it was one hell of a group. I had Mariusz Pudzianowski, Harold Haugen at the time, who was one of the top young guys. Louis Philippe Jean, who's now kind of established. Brian Shaw in the group, who is pretty much the best guy in the world right now. So it was a pretty tough group. And we had Brian Siders as well, who was world powerlifting champion. So obviously, you know, he wasn't so good at the mobile. He had certain strengths, that's right. He was supposed to be pretty good at a lot of events. And I was kind of just relaxed, you know. There's no pressure. When it's your first Worlds, there's no pressure. You can relax and just go and have fun. And I did really well, you know. It was a photo finish between me and Mariusz on the loading event. So, you know, to push Mariusz on that event. The axle was a big weakness for me at the time. My pressing was weak at the time. I think I only managed to do 2 reps. I can't even remember, probably about 130 kilos, so it was pretty pants.
That's okay.
Squat, first time squatting World's Strongest Man, I went and won it. So I kind of from then had to establish myself as having a strong pair of legs, which hopefully I have done. So to beat like guys like Mariusz, Brian Siders, who was world powerlifting champion at the time, it was a nice achievement. And I ended up kind of being really close to actually qualifying. I ended up 4th, but between 2nd, 3rd and 4th was only about 2 points. So it gave me a lot of confidence then to go away and think, I can compete with these guys. You know, your confidence, for me particularly, my confidence had to always build over the years. I wasn't one of those guys that just kind of shot in and thought, you know, I'm the man. I've always just looked at ways to improve and each year get better and better. And that was the first time I kind of believed one day I could
you could
hang with these
yeah,
guys.
that's right, yeah, you can compete.
Yeah,
you know.
so 2008 was like a good kind of learning year for me.
Okay, so 2009 comes up in part 2.